Hello, one and all, to another Zoom Racing League stream broadcast and D2 sorry, not D2 but D3 Singapore this week we're having. Give me 1 second, everyone, as I'm fixing the stream. Yeah, I mean, what a great weekend with Singapore. Very interesting track, very interesting races we're gonna have. What do you think about it, Magnuson?
It's gonna be a chaotic one, especially with the rain. It's the longest race of the season on time. It takes around about an hour, or even if it's dry, north of an hour, as Hoke Droldi spins into the wall at turn 19. But yeah, as I said, very long, very slow, and it is a test of endurance, especially with the terrible conditions that we're having for the start of qualifying here in Marina Bay.
Yeah, definitely.
It's also a
Go
It's
ahead.
also a street circuit which means that the walls are quite close, and making a mistake is punished.
Yeah, definitely. Those things are very punished here around Singapore, and especially punished even worse now around the wet, where when you do make a mistake, your car isn't really going to slow down as quickly, especially on these very wet conditions. And I mean, it's looking pretty wet out there. Let's hop on with Aero so far. Let's hop on with him. Look at his lap and how he's going. I mean, just look at how much standing water is out there right now. It's literally just a downpour.
It indeed is a downpour, and these downpours are not uncommon in these parts of the world. They've happened in real life. I remember staying up until 3 a.m. for MotoGP at Mandalika in Indonesia, and it was whether that would make this a dry race, but so it's not uncommon to see a downpour in this part of the world, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, not uncommon for especially Singapore, which has actually one of the highest chances to rain in all the tracks, I believe, if I'm not too wrong on that case. But such as such, these drivers have been told by I think most teams have informed their drivers that there might be a chance of having a wet race. So hopefully some of these drivers have prepared as best they can for these conditions, for safety reasons and for, you know, pace reasons. Yeah, but I mean, going on this wrap right now, I mean, it looks really slow, but you can see the little intricate details of Aero just trying to manage his car throughout this entire lap. It's very difficult to do. Singapore's not an easy track in the dry, and it's certainly not an easier track in the wet. It's definitely a lot of managing oversteer and minimum speed, because a lot of this is carrying a lot of speed through these corners. And even with max downforce, it's still a bit tough, like Aero's showing us right now, to keep it away from those walls.
It indeed is a tough challenge around here, especially with so many low speed corners below 100 kilometers an hour, 50 miles an hour. A lot of these corners already very slow in the dry, and they're going to be even slower in the wet. So it's a 2-minute lap time in the wet round here, as Joe Gurn over there with a big slide out of the final corner, and he goes second fastest. But get back to the point. Very, very slow, even in the dry, but in the wet, it's going to be another level. So many slow corners, such a long lap, and we could have a real possibility of some pretty big field spreading around here,
It
especially with the lap being so long. As I said, with so many of these corners being on momentum, it will really. This is going to be a qualifying session where where drivers are going to earn their money today.
Yeah, definitely, and we can definitely tell who is getting, who's going to be rich and who's going to be poor in this session, as Ethan Patel stunts the field with a 58.4 versus Joel Guron and Aero, who are both respectively quick drivers, who basically been gapped by at least 6 tenths or more. So impressive lap by Technic Speedy. He has shown quite a good showing of pace recently, as Mr. Baby embarrasses him and drops to 57.6. So this track may be improving. Checking out weatherman Freddie Rozelle. Currently, the track seems to be improving slowly but surely. Track evolution shouldn't be that heavy to the point where these drivers will be needing to maximize the time they release later. But it's just enough to where it'll make slight differences. But definitely, we can see here that Mr. Baby is definitely leading the charge right now into the 57s, and everyone's going to have to start matching those kinds of times.
Bieber and G, however, goes with the fastest final sector, but I hope we get to see some drivers on the intermediates at the end of the session. It would just be huge gamble, especially on a track like this. It's an incredible gamble to take, especially on a circuit like this. Punish mistakes, you go 1 centimeter too far left or too far right, you're in the wall. So I hope we get to see some gambles as Beamer NG goes fastest in Sector 1. As we go down to the middle sector here in Singapore, a very slow part of the lap.
And definitely a very slow part, especially with this rain. I mean, Beamer, one of our more veteran drivers in D3, especially together with Technic Speed and Joe Guran, both in the top 5 so far. I think the wet brings out those who are very experienced with the F1 game, and not only that, but those who really know and trust their cars.
It will require a great deal of patience, especially on the throttle, and a lot of patience on a lot of skill as well. It's such a tough track, such a slow lap that it does feel very long, and this race will take forever, especially with the rate of a safety car being arguably the highest of the entire game, and the rain chance, which is one of the highest, if not the overall highest around here. So there's a lot of potential for an underdog win, possibly, because of the conditions. And Beamer NG, a 156.4. This track is improving fast. The whole field separated by just over 3 seconds as we speak.
Yeah, so to update you on the weather so far, rain has dropped down by a total of 22% precipitation-wise. We're having the target temperature go up slightly by at least 1 or 2 degrees, so we might be seeing some improvements in time, or also just people trying to kind of finally understanding the wet and time slowly going down because of just general track knowledge. In about 5 more minutes, we should see a slight improvement to grip. Not by that much, so drivers should be focusing on going out with as much fuel as possible and getting as much laps down quickly as possible.
However, though, Boberto 93 in the Williams has gone bold here. He's gone for the intermediates, and it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look too unstable. But we have a car off spun at the final corner, and that is Arrow. He's recovered there, as we think there could be a few drivers pitting, I think, to change onto intermediates, because this will be one of those quality sessions where you have to be on the track at all times. As Arrow spins out of the first corner again. No damage done.
Yeah, and I mean, we have a couple drivers here, 3 of them to be exact, the intermediates. I don't think telemetry says it's not the right time for the intermediates as of yet, but it's definitely a gamble that some people are willing to take, as it seems. I can't really tell the tire temperatures of these cars. Let me take a quick peek at his own. He's currently at 73, 72 degrees. Not quite optimum for the intermediate tires. You want to aim for more of the little high 70s as he Boberto invalidates his lap. So it seems like we could maybe see some intermediate tires here at the last 3 minutes to go. It's very possible.
Indeed it is, especially at the end of the session. So watch out for a flurry of laps here at the end of first qualifying, because those that do end up messing up, those that do end up in a barrier somewhere, as Arrow has spun for the 3rd time, if I remember, out of turn 9. But let's go back to what I was saying. It will be a very manic end to qualifying, with lap times dropping and people changing onto intermediates. Hoka Giraldi, a 159.5. He's 9th fastest out of 13 that I've currently set a time. Stay with Boberto 93, because he could be on a lap here, but it's invalid, so he may just be conserving fuel. Aaron Green goes 2nd fastest in the Alpine, to 156.9.
Yeah, and I mean, the top 2 guys are both control players, so it definitely shows you the level of comfort these guys have in the wet. And this is nothing to degrade these drivers' positions at the moment, but it is definitely arguably a lot less of a pain to manage the wet conditions with a controller. I know that from experience myself. Wet conditions was not a difficult thing to manage on controller, but Cushy's showing us actually how to do a lap around here while dropping in 156 flat, setting pole for the session. And Rogue just comes in and destroys it. And Marino just comes in and destroys it. Okay. I mean, who else is going to come and take pole?
Every 5 seconds we're getting a lap beaten. A 154.9 for Marino. That is a seriously fast time for these wet conditions.
Yeah, extremely. And I mean, our intermediate runners aren't seeming to have the best of times right now. They haven't seemed to get the tires up to temp. It doesn't seem like the right time for intermediates, but it definitely seems like the right time for these wet tires. Some of these drivers have not gone out for some times, specifically Duncan and Ben. So hopefully they get sorted, whatever they need to get sorted. But they will not be making it through qualifying if they don't do that.
See there. Big Mama Frank resetting at turn 17. And Ben with a 151.8. Where did that come from?
Oh yeah, the track is definitely improving now. Precipitation's down a little bit and track temperatures are up. So these drivers should be getting out to put in laps now.
It is going to be now or never. It is intermediate tires. It's 3 seconds a lap faster.
Definitely. We
Maybe
have
more.
reached, yeah, we have reached that turnover point.
And I think this could be a track where the controller versus wheel difference isn't that big, with the amount of traction zone supporting the controller and tire temperatures, especially in the race, or if it does dry up, if we do get to see the soft tires, we could see some overheating at the end of first qualifying runs around here.
Yeah, definitely. As I think most people should be coming out on the intermediate tires now, as they seeing Ben set a blistering 51.8 on the inters. Still of 151, a very long lap. I mean, longest lap around any track ever in the dry is like a 126, I believe, and that's around Spa. And that's pretty long. The track feels it takes a while to get around it, so you can just imagine how just you really have to, just like Magnussen said earlier, pace yourself throughout this entire race, and just prepare for anything, and just really just take all this extra time to just really just hone in that nice, slow, smooth steering.
This is indeed a long lap. It kind of reminds us of some of the MotoGP tracks, 2-minute plus lap times. Especially around Coda, 2-minute 5s for those guys, but we're not talking MotoGP here. This is F1, so yeah, the longest lap time is 1 minute 44, but this is also a very long lap. Marino on full wets, interestingly, he hasn't decided to change onto intermediates as cars are flying everywhere. Big Mama Frank at turn 2. Marino is purple to the first sector as these guys find their way around the still a very tricky circuit here in Singapore. A lot of corners that can catch you out.
Yeah, and I mean, let's talk about Marino for a second. I mean, what a qualifier Marino has been these past couple of seasons. I mean, he's not known to have the best of races, but goddamn can Marino put a lap together.
The thing around here is overall survival, especially in the wet. This is going to be a race that's all about survival here. You could be last at the end of lap 1 and you could still win this race by 20 seconds.
Yeah, as Marino crosses the second sector, I believe he's gone fastest. Technic Speedy also on a very fast lap, currently 2/10 up on pole. So but we got to watch out for both of those drivers. They are improving heavily this lap. So we'll definitely be seeing a lot of good things from
Speedy,
them.
because he could be on the lap of the weekend here, on an incredibly good lap. Joel Guron will probably have to start his, and a lot of drivers will have this or bust. Anyone validating will have this or bust. Duncan in the Ferrari. As Marino second fastest on the full wet, a 154.7. And Kishi, I don't think he'll get another lap in on the intermediate, as Boberto with a 149.8. We've gone from 159s at the start of qualifying to 1 minute 48s by the time Q1 ended, so over 10 seconds of track improvement in just 16 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it shows you how good those intermediate tires are. I mean, they basically are super soft compounds with tread on them. So they're incredibly efficient at what they're doing, and that is removing water and also going really quick. As Ben, I believe, or I think Fitzdickwell, has just improved to 4th place.
Yeah, Rogue and Kishi are over and done with their laps here in Singapore, but we've got Beamer, Aaron, Mr. Baby, Big Mama Frank, NVA, Joel Guron, Kaganis, and Arrow still on some very fast laps at the minute. The time to beat out of Q1, a 159.0, but that will be tumbling and tumbling fast
Yeah,
as this session progresses.
and yeah, I think a lot of these couple fast laps is actually going to be a complete shootout for these guys. We don't know who's going to be in the knockout zone yet because no one's really set a lap yet. As Kaganus goes 5th place, that might be the knockout time. Everyone might improve below him. You don't know because all these times have been set on the wet tires. We're not too sure yet. As Akushi invalidates, so he stays 10th place. He's not safe right now. As Duncan 4-5 sets a 150.6. That seems like to be the safe range at the moment. We don't know really what's happening right now. Envy seems to be a big improver right now. Joel Guron as well.
Let's watch Aero and Mr. Baby. Fastest of them all with the 148.596. As Aero finds his way around the final chicane into the final double left-hander to finish off the lap here in Singapore. And it will be a 151.2. And that's Marino, half spun in the final sector, but he's probably not safe here. And he definitely isn't. Beamer NG into the final corners. And
should be improving, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big improvement of 149.1. That's third fastest of them all. Hoka Droldi will start 18th. And Big Mama Frank.
Yeah, Big Mama Frank's.
And Marino has just survived the elimination cutoff here in Singapore with the lead Mercedes driver, Rogue, out.
And not only did Marino survive qualifying, he survived it on the wet tires. I just want to remind everyone watching right now, Marino has not even switched on to the intermediates. He got through this qualifying session with no intermediates. So Marino definitely impressing in that part. For sure, Marino. No, you did not mess up, Marino. You did a fantastic job there. Let's check everyone else. BMF definitely hopped out of the elimination zone, bumping down Mercedes lead driver Rogue, who I think had just a lot of unlucky times where he just couldn't really put that lap down. Hokage Roldy Kushi had pole times for a couple times, you know, definitely showed some pace there, but I guess you just get unlucky and someone definitely does have to get knocked out. And I guess it's those three drivers who are very talented at qualifying, but I guess aren't too talented in the wet today.
We've got Rogue, Kishi43, Hoka Droldi, and Logan, PSQ722 out in Q1. Here for the Singapore Grand Prix. And ready for the 15 driver second knockout session here on the streets of Singapore.
Yep, so Mr. Baby is your pole sitter by 2/10. In the Mercedes AMG Petronas F1 car, we see two drivers in the 148s and a bunch of drivers in the 149s and even more in the 150s and 151s. It seems to be like a decent split here. You have some nice spread between the teams. It seems to be mostly your Technic Speedy, your Beamer, your Joel Guron, and the new face of Mr. Baby, who seem to be controlling the session right now. And we have some also old faces of Barbato and Ben coming in and striking really high for Williams. I mean, I'm pretty sure Garrett's very happy right now with their positions in qualifying, and we can hopefully see more from the Williams team this weekend.
I hope we get to see some surprises here in Q2, and given what we've seen with the Mercedes lead driver, Rogue, out, we could well get some more surprises.
Yep, definitely.
And despite the fact that it is incredibly difficult to overtake around here with a very short pitch train. Oh, kind of looks dry.
It is a dry session. It actually is going to get it's getting better throughout the session, so drivers are going to look to improve with track evolution here. They're going to have to think about going out as early as possible to get times down, and you know, definitely timing is very important throughout these sessions that have a drop in precipitation due to, you know, track evolution, obviously.
This could be a very, very chaotic end to this could be a very chaotic second shootout here in Singapore. It's a long track in Kaganus, I think, or one of the Ferrari guys. The first out of the garage, it is Kaganus on the soft C5 tire. Keep in mind, I don't think anyone's going to be starting on that soft tire here. It is just a terrible race tire. It doesn't go more than 2-3 laps, but and Joel Guron as well is out, and I think a lot of people will be going out right now to get a sense of a dry track. For I don't know how many people have done many laps of practice, but for those that haven't practiced a lot in the dry, or just haven't practiced a lot in general, this will be one of their first runs in the wet in representative dry conditions. So
yeah,
What do you think pole will be? 137s?
I think Pole's going to be somewhere in the high 137s, mid 137s. I don't see anyone. High 137s, I think. Some of these guys have, I think I've seen like mid 137s from these guys, specifically Joel, Duncan, BMF, Technic, Speedy. But again, these conditions are not too perfect for the car. You see the track is a little bit damp. There's a little bit of water left back from the session before, so the tires aren't going to be fully gripped up yet. I think definitely in Q3 we should see some more representable times, but definitely qualifying is going to be definitely interesting, and it's definitely going to show who has the best throttle balance, because this track is not fully dry yet.
Indeed, this track is still very green from the showers of Q1. We could see another round of some pretty quick track improvement as we saw at the end of Q1. Not to the extent we saw in Q1, where we went from 159 at the start of the session to 148 at the end. But I think we could see a few seconds still because of the leftover water that's kind of stayed on the track. And oh, and that's Fitz Dickwell into the wall, into the floating grandstand section in a full Daniel Ricciardo 2013 style accident. But in this case, it doesn't mean he's out. He just lost part of his front wing, so he'll be looking to get that repaired, and he will be back out quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, very unfortunate from Fitz. I mean, again, like I was saying earlier, this track, as you can tell, is a little bit damp. There's a little bit of dampness on the track. You can see that just slightly glistening on the tarmac surface. We'll be definitely keeping you updated, guys, on the track conditions as it goes on. But so far, Kajin is the first guy to get on his hot lap. Slowly making his way around this lap. Seems pretty good, though. Car's not really understeering too bad. Seems pretty gripped up. Shouldn't be too bad around the circuit right now, but definitely you don't want to bite too much, then you can chew, or else you're definitely going to be sending it in the wall and definitely DNFing.
You're right, especially in these dry conditions, because of the very high grip levels this track has and the very high downforce levels we will run around here, especially in these conditions. I think we could see some drivers into a wall if they push too hard, and Singapore, not a forgiving track in the slightest. There is also many of these corners, so many of these curbs are very deceptive with these 2022 cars with the ground effect. The underfloor could easily be upset. The underfloor downforce could very easily be upset by these big curbs, and controlling your car over these big curbs will be the key to lap time around here.
Yeah, and definitely. And I mean, setup is another big thing around here. I mean, definitely a lot of these teams are focusing on running taller ride heights. I mean, I've seen some streams recently from the Red Bulls, from Aero, from other drivers racing around here, and it seems that everyone seems to be running pretty high on the ride height and pretty stiff a front end. To definitely get some of that mid-corner rotation back. But at the same time, their cars just wobble around the curbs due to it being so tall. And also these very stiff front suspension or rear suspension, or however they have the car set up. So definitely just, a good setup is definitely going to get you a very far way into this session.
Yep, you're right. And now we've seen the lap times fall by nearly 1.5 seconds as Beamer NG top position with a 137.9 and Kaganis a 139.6. Keep in mind that the track is still going to improve here. We're still on a relatively green track for Q2 because of the rain in Q1, but you're right, very high ride height, very stiff front end because of the prevalence of low to medium speed corners around here, especially in that final sector where flowing that section right, especially the entry to turn 15, 16, and 17, is going to be key to lap time.
Yeah, definitely.
Turn 7, the drivers with a good qualifying around here could easily be rewarded if they don't put it in the wall early on, if in the rain, or get the strategy wrong. If you don't do either, putting it in the wall or getting the strategy wrong, you will be on for a good race if you qualify well around here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, prove me wrong, Bima has. We're already in the high 37s, so we can definitely be seeing these drivers make their way definitely to the mid to low 37s for qualifying, which is actually really good for D3, to be honest. We have a lot. D3 has gotten faster. now that we have a lack of a D4. It's basically most of the top D3 drivers that have been moved over and bottom D2. So we have a nice very, I'll say probably one of the most competitive divisions we have right now, next to D1. And yeah, it definitely shows as some of these drivers are setting times within the tenths of each other. I mean, you have 4 drivers right now within a tenth of each other, basically, being Aero, Barbato, and Mr. Baby, along with Ethan Patel. So definitely very competitive racing we're going to be seeing, and definitely competitive lap times we're going to be seeing. As Joel Guron currently on a lap. Let's take a look at his times really quick. A 31.4 for the beginning first sector. That's not too hot. Joel Guron might have had a slight spin or something, because he's a couple tenths, probably a couple seconds off the pace in this first sector. So Joel not having a great first out on his Q2 lap. Definitely going to be looking to improve on that. Actually, never mind. He is on an out lap. I didn't notice that.
He wasn't using any of his battery. I knew right there, but
Yeah.
it's a very competitive session. Ethan Patel, Aero, Boberto 93, Mr. Baby on the mediums getting up there, 138.5. These guys could also be ones to watch, especially Mr. Baby on that medium tire. I think Paul will be in the high 36s. And ooh, Ethan Patel there spinning at the pit entry, tagging the wall. And he's got it back up and running, but that is a bit of a small confidence issue. And that it will be a dent in his confidence when he enters the pits again for his when he enters the pits.
Yeah.
Either in the race or in his final run.
Yeah, and driver's confidence should be going up as well, Magnussen, as in 5 minutes the track should be at its best. And in 10 minutes, actually, it's going to be at its worst. So there's going to be a nice final shootout here where the track's at its peak conditions at around 1 and 2 minutes left. So that's going to be really interesting.
I think we could see one of these drivers make a mistake under pressure around here, under the lights, around this fantastic circuit in qualifying, real life, or the game. This is one of the best qualifying sessions of the year, even if the race is usually terrible. It will be a pressure cooker of a qualifying session.
Yeah, not only a pressure cooker, definitely the pressure's being felt by Joel Guron, who's tapped the wall more than once. Not only that, he's eating a lot of curves, and his car's taking it, so definitely the Red Bull's running a very high ride height to manage getting over some of these curves, because if you're running anything lower than, like, I don't know, maybe like 6.5, you'll be bottoming out. So, yeah, you can tell Joel's just driving over these curves like nothing, so Red Bull having a very aggressive ride height to manage, definitely for the race, I'm pretty sure, more than just qualifying.
Yeah, a lot of these curves around here, very, very easy to get upset on, and you can see Joel Guron absolutely tank his way over those curves. The Red Bulls, very much with a high ride height, and up to the line, it's a 1 minute 38.4, so not a bad lap at all. He goes fourth fastest. But now, we'll see, the fun really begins now, as the track is ramping up, and with such high downforce settings, we could see some really, really good laps around here.
Yeah, definitely. As Duncan 454 such and such is currently on his lap, actually out lap or in lap, I'm not too sure. Game's
I think he might be on an out. He might be on an in lap. He's not got a lot of battery, and he's nearly 2 seconds down on.
Yeah. He's on the lap. Sorry, the telemetry normally tells me, and it wasn't telling me for him.
I think the in-game telemetry told me because he's on low battery. You don't do a qualifying lap with 2% battery.
Yeah, let me turn back on the telemetry on here so I can see that. Oh,
and he scraped the wall slightly. Let's see what's going on.
Shoguran lost the whole front wing.
His front wing gone, but he should be thanking the gods there's not any more damage. But he's got enough time to fix it, and he's got enough time for probably another run. He's got enough time for another run as well. Be happy about that. And Marino is still yet to set a lap. What's going on with him?
Yeah,
he just hasn't set a lap yet, and he's now out.
Joel has completely removed that front wing off of that Red Bull.
Yeah, that Red Bull doesn't have a front wing anymore. And I bet we could be seeing some of those front wings be collected by those barriers in the race, especially if the threat of rain for the start of the Grand Prix is true. With this tough circuit, the drivers that don't run ABS could easily I hope no one does this, but some of the drivers with no ABS could easily just go 1 or 2% too much on the brakes and just overcook it into the barrier, and that has happened here, like with Yuki Tsunoda in the real life Grand Prix. Made a mistake in changeable conditions and went straight on at turn 10.
Yeah, definitely has. We see Barbudo on his hot lap finally going out. Let's see if he's improving in his first sector. 27.2 he's got to beat. 27.1 is what he gets. Currently, not the fastest first sector. He's about a tenth down on the fastest first sector, but he's definitely on a time to put him up into the top 3.
Let's see, down into the Padang in the middle sector of the circuit as he goes through the second half of sector 2, and now this tight chicane with some very interesting curves, and now through the Anderson Bridge. And you see down into the hairpin, very close to the wall on the entry, and there's a curved braking zone, and you have to run out as wide as you can on the exit. What's the middle sector going to be then? A 1 minute 4.9. So he goes purple and a 10th up on Beamer Edgy. Through the final sector he goes. And this is the chicane fiesta. 3 chicanes in a row. Braking for turn 16 in a curved way. Into 17. This curve is very challenging, and that's nearly up to the barrier on the exit. Into 18 and 19. The floating grandstand. Very close to the wall again. No harm done. And into the final chicane of the lap. He doesn't tank the curbs like Joel Guron. He actually avoids them, and a bit of a graze with the barrier there.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be P2 right here. Hasn't done too much to get pulled, but definitely, again, put himself up there. Great lap from Barbudo. A 38.0 is very respectable.
A very good lap indeed, a 1:38.0. As we've got multiple drivers on outlaps, as Big Mama Frank was a temporary air flag, and we'll see Joel Guron. He has probably barely enough time to finish his lap as Beamer NG retires from the session, and I think he should be safe.
Oh yeah, more than.
Yeah, definitely. And Ethan Patel probably preparing for his final run. We see a lot of drivers on outlaps here. And Kaganus with a 6-minute lap time. he definitely won't be getting that, that's for sure. He'll be going 5 minutes faster. Yeah, and the game is just probably bugged again. Let's see. Ben in sector 2. And he is, unlike his teammate, he's absolutely ramming that car over the curbs. And it will be a very interesting thing, as we've seen drivers around here take one curb too much, take too much of one particular curb and go straight into a wall.
Definitely.
See Marino make his way through the grandstand. A bit of a twitch there on the rear of the Alpha. And unlike Boberto, completely misses those curbs in the final sector. Just doesn't want to hit them at all because you never know with them. Up to the line goes Marino, and it is only 9th. That's not safe. Fitz Dickwell in sector 1. The NVA as well is on a lap. Kaganus half a second down in sector 1, but he's backed off. So Kaganus will probably be out in Q2 here in Singapore. As he has backed off Ben, a 1:39.1. He goes 9th. Marino is in the elimination zone. He might be on a lap here, but with 2% battery, I find he will have to set some really good times in the corners and hope to the gods he doesn't lose out enough on the straights with his lack of battery. Goes through the other part of sector 2, some very technical sections up to the wall. You get a yellow flag, and that's Kagan is letting people through. And Technic Speedy goes fastest off them all at 1:37.8. Joe Gurn again tanking those curbs in sector 2. Stian Aston of Aero on a purple middle sector. A lot of steering lock there, and doesn't tank the curb, but oh, and he's hit the wall as well. Not done much damage, but let's see. Rage, 9th fastest at 1:38.8. Fitz Dickwell ends his qualifying 2 then, 1:38.5. And Marino, a 1:38.7, and he is out. And Aero with a really good lap, a 1:37.4. That is straight to the top of the charts.
Yeah, definitely Aero with an extremely impressive lap from him. Arrow definitely a very consistent and great qualifier, especially a great racer. So if he can probably reproduce that lap and probably improve on it with track evolution in Q3, he can definitely be someone to look at a favorite of winning this race.
And Joel Gurr on 5th fastest. Let's see, Ben and NVA has just made it through to the final part of qualifying here in Marina Bay.
Yep, so your 5 knockouts will be Marino, Rage, Ben, Aaron Jareen, and sadly Kajanus, who did not get to set a final lap. So unfortunate from him.
Arrow 4 tenths faster than Ethan Patel and Beamer, two drivers who were forced to be reckoned with in D2 last season. So Arrow, they're showing some serious pace. Will he improve on that lap and get pole, or will another driver do it?
I'd
That's
also
the
like,
storyline of Q3.
and I'd also like to mention, Mr. Baby has gotten through in Q3 on the medium tires.
That is
That is astonishing.
Mr. Baby, wow, survived it on the mediums, and he'll be looking for probably 3 flying less on the soft tire.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the Q3 sessions where we have no more than one team in the top 10. So you have at least one driver from every team into the top 10 on this Q3 lap. So it's going to be every single team and driver for themselves in this qualifying, and we'll see who is the best that comes out.
It is going to be a free-for-all as the final part of qualifying, the 10-car shootout for pole, begins here on the streets of Singapore. Who will take pole? Who do you think, Thermo?
I think we're going to be going with Mr. Baby. I think Mr. Baby or Arrow should definitely... I don't know, man. It's like Joel, Ethan, Bima, NVA, Mr. Baby, Arrow, man, heck, even Babeto, I think, can even challenge for pole here. It's very decisive. I mean, it just depends on how well these drivers get their laps down. And I don't see any which one of them just outperforming the other. All these guys are very even.
Indeed, they're even for pace, but I think Arrow will get pole position. If his final Q2 lap was anything to go up.
No faith in your team principal?
If Arrow's final Q2 run was anything to go by, I think he'll get pole.
You know what, Fitz? I'll cheer for you, Fitz. You got this, Fitz. Easy pole.
Fitz a 35-3 on pole. It's gonna happen. Generational talent.
Yeah, as we actually no, I lied about one car from each team being out there. The Red Bulls are paired up for Q3. I did not notice that. So we do have one team with 2 drivers in Q3, and that would be Red Bull.
Yep. Nearly every team, though, has one driver in. Except Alfa Romeo, every single team has a driver in this final part of qualifying. And that's astonishing. Especially, but that's an incredible feat.
Yeah, definitely. It's impressive. It shows you the competitiveness of specifically D3. I mean, having at least almost one of each driver. Barrino actually dropping out because of bad luck on his last run. I mean, he would have been in here as well, but especially just showing you the competitiveness of D3 and how each of the top 10 picks, I believe some of these guys, do you have any second picks in here? I don't know if Mr. Baby or Babita was a second pick, but again, just at least one of each driver being able to represent and be as quick to even challenge for a pole is incredible for a division.
We could see some very interesting results here, but as I said, it will be a pressure cooker, especially now with nearly every team, with this being an absolute free-for-all. Only Red Bull can plan a tow maybe, or anything, because no other team has both drivers in the final part of qualifying.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely interesting as Shogaron is eating those caves. His car's just taking it like a champ.
He is eating those curbs like a tank.
Yeah, tanks. I didn't know tanks do eat caves, but I guess they do now.
He's tanking over those curbs like crazy. At turn 8 as well, as he goes through turn 9, more curb.
Shogaron's making his own line through Singapore.
A little Beamer there, spinning at turn 9. No damage done, at least I can see here.
Let's see, that front wing looks fine to me.
Yeah.
Let's hop back
Here
on
we
with
go.
Joe Guron, who's finishing his final lap. His flying lap, sorry, not his final lap.
And there's even more curb at turn 14. Through to 15,
See
and
him.
then down into 16 and 17. Just look how much curb he's taking.
A little bit
And
more
Red Bull.
reserved for that corner right there in turn 17.
That's Nelson Piquet's favorite corner on the entire calendar. Definitely not through certain events. As Big Mama Frank opens the Q3 account to 138.4. Joe Guron up to the line. He's gonna go with the 137.6. He smashes Big Mama Frank out of the water, and
Yeah.
that's nearly
That's 2
8
tenths
tenths per
off.
second.
That's 2 tenths off Q2 pole. So Joel with a great bank lap. I mean, that's impressive. It's going to keep him safe in case he does make a mistake in this final lap. So definitely a great banker from him. But they need to be aiming for low 37s if they want any sort of chance of making a pole position at Singapore. And we'll see who is able to do it. I mean, a lot of these 38s, I don't think those are on fresh tires. I think those are on used tires.
I think Paul could be in the 36s, the 36.9 maybe, but
Mm,
we'll have to watch out. We'll have to find out.
Definitely. I'm not too 100% on that one. Definitely think a low 37 is possible, but if a driver can pull out a low 36, they're definitely going to be the ones dominating this race this week.
Yeah. Anyone, the pressure will be on some of these drivers, especially the front runners for some really good laps. Ethan Patel going through turn 14. Just slightly less cut than Joe Guron, but he is out of turn 14 nicely as he starts his final sector here in Singapore. Not a lot of curb in that middle, in that end, in that first chicane. And then down into 18 and 19. Again, very patient, taking just enough and into 19 and 20. And that's that part of the circuit complete. Into the final two corners now. Up to the line, and it is a 138.0 for Ethan Patel. He goes second fastest.
I don't mean to be a bit of a rusher here, but it seems that rain's going to pick up in 5 minutes. Magnussen.
This could be a bold one, in fact, but this could be an interesting end to qualifying. Will we get more chaos? It's not uncommon to rain hard in these parts of the world. But if this were to be truly realistic, it wouldn't be a shower, it would be a straight downpour like we had at the start of Q1. Arrow and Beamer NG on their laps as Mr. Baby is on his lap. Purple to the first sector at 27.1. Taking decent chunks of that curb and just ramming that, just tanking over that curb at turn 8. And into 9, not as much as possible. Just he could have gotten away with there, but down into the middle sector of the lap he goes. And takes enough curbs in the middle sector that he's taking enough. He even takes him out of that hairpin. Getting on the power nice and early onto this third DRS zone. As he goes purple to sector 2 as well. As Ethan Patel, as Boberto with a 137.6. I think it is starting to rain. It is starting, I think, in the pit lane. In the first sector, there are some light drops. This could be a very chaotic end to qualifying, but will it stay like this? Will it be heavy rain? We don't know. Mr. Baby, he could be on a lap of the weekend, and if the weather plays out in his favor, he might be on pole here for the Singapore Grand Prix. Up to the line. Is it going to be a lap? Yes, so 137.608. Position, and Boberto, very slow on the racing line there at turn 7. Beamer and G on a lap. And these guys have got to get their laps in now because of the weather. Arrow, purple, but it's not that fast. It's just not as fast as what he could do. And Beamer as well on a decent tour. But I think if it does pick up, the rain does pick up more, this will be the qualifying order. The Arrow and Beamer have to finish their laps now, otherwise, with the rain falling as it is, on my screen at least, it will be quali over. Arrow up to the line, a 138.2. He is not got a great banker in as well, and that's probably going to be it for his Q3 session. Now, and Beamer NG down into the final portion of the lap as we see Aero spinning at turn 3. They threw the final couple of corners and up to the line after this high-speed tour. And he ends it with a 138.1. Both Beamer and Aero, not the fastest they could go, but I think the weather has put paid to any hope of a 36 pole. Beamer NG indeed retires as Joe Guron invalidates his final run. And I think with the weather picking up, with the rain getting worse, it could be a fast end to qualifying.
Okay, I am back, Magnuson. Sorry about that, guys. What's happening so far? Is it raining like I said?
Yes, DRS has just been disabled as I speak. And that will be it, I think. Mr. Baby is on pole position for the Singapore Grand Prix. And Boberto on the front row alongside him.
Yeah, and I mean, as predicted properly, I guess. I wasn't expecting that too much to be this early into the races. Arrow just sent into a wall. Yeah.
Just trashed that car, and same with Duncan, and same with my team principal, Fitz Dickwell.
Yeah, but I mean, definitely an order that could have been swapped up a bit more. But yeah, the rain. I guess the rain came early, and I did warn about this a little bit earlier that the rain might come near the end, and laps being set now are going to be very important. So
yeah, I think that's it for Q3 here on the streets of Singapore.
I should be paid to be an engineer, Jesus.
The rain came at the right time for Mercedes, but it's a bittersweet quali for them. Their second driver, Mr. Baby, is on pole. Their main driver, Rogue, is 16th.
Yeah, very unfortunate for the Mercedes duo. Their team positioning isn't too strong, but they definitely have the ability to score high right now, as Mr. Baby's known as a really fast driver in general, so I think he can run away with this.
He could definitely run away with this, but the threat of a safety car around here is very high, and we don't know about his wet. He was fast in Q1 in the wet. That could be an ominous combination. Mr. Baby, who is fast in the wet, and he topped Q1, I think, he wasn't near the top of the field in Q1.
Yeah.
So he could be very, very quick in those wet conditions.
Yeah, let's look over some while we're waiting. Let's look over some top speed data so far. We have Envy at our fastest man through the speed trap at a 298. So that should be a error balance of about 50-47, 50-48, 49-48, 49-47, somewhere around there to get that top speed. But so far from the worst to the best, there's only about 2 kilometer difference, so everyone's running relatively the same amount of aero.
Yeah, indeed it is. So overtaking is going to be tough, and Q3 is over here in Singapore. Mr. Baby, Boberto, and Joe Guron are your top 3. And it is not the best of qualities for Ferrari. 8th on the grid for Duncan, their lead driver, but they could do better, I think. Some drivers could do better. Some drivers have work to do here in Singapore. Stay tuned as we've got the main attraction, 31 laps in the rain on this tough and bumpy street circuit. I can't wait for this.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely interesting as the race start is stormy. And I'm not saying like wet, oh, it's just wet conditions. It's stormy wet. As in, this is going to be a flooded track coming into Singapore right now. So that's going to be definitely very interesting for these drivers to maneuver through. So it's going to be stormy for about I'd say 2 tiles. So that's about, 20 minutes of race time? 10, yeah, see, I mean, you can see it for yourself. This track is definitely flooded.
Very, very wet.
Yeah.
Here, and it is not an uncommon sight to see a downpour like this in a race in this part of the world. We saw the 2001 Malaysian Grand Prix in these conditions. The MotoGP race Mandalika last season in these conditions, if not worse. So it completely isn't out of the question, and it isn't uncommon for a race like this to be in such pouring conditions, such appalling weather. I think this will be a race where a lot of people will earn their money. The drivers that win this race, the person that wins this race, will definitely earn it today in these conditions. The threat of a safety car is maxed out, and so is the risk of a race-ending strategy call or a strategy call that could gain you multiple positions.
Definitely.
I, for one, went from 16th to 4th just because I pitted one lap earlier under a safety car period from into slicks.
Yeah, and
So
that's going to be very important to have an engineer and somebody watching over this data for these drivers to manage. And so far, it seems that the race will be terrible throughout the whole thing. Drivers don't need to be worrying about pitting anytime soon because this rain seems to be going on until near the end. So we might see some pits near the end, or we might see some drivers even just going on. So the conditions are going to be getting worse. So yeah, here we go.
Here we go. 5 lights are off, and it's go now here in Singapore. Mr. Baby holds that lead into the first chicane as they funnel down. Alberta with a Mr. Baby, however, leads the field away. Ethan Patel dropping a place. Oh, there's a big move there. There's a big incident with some of the drivers at the back. Fitz Dickwell and a few drivers there. Kishi 43 with a good start. Logan as well with a good start. And Fitz Dickwell has pulled over to the side. He's 6 over. Ooh, Logan getting involved in an incident at turn 2. And Kaganis as well with a bad getaway. He's down to 16th.
Yeah.
So we see some contrasting fortunes, but Mr. Baby is miles away in the lead of this Grand Prix. Joel Guron in second as Ethan Patel and Boberto fight side by side into the middle sector. And I think Ethan Patel may just have that one. No, and that's invited NVA as well with the wall so close to the exit of turn 8. And NVA is backed off. And Boberto holding Ethan Patel into 4th place. We've seen some decent action on this first lap, but the gaps are already coming alive here in Singapore.
And I mean, Beam is just a passenger watching all this unfold right in front of him as multiple drivers are just jockeying for position, just looking up the inside, getting around these other drivers. I mean, it's wet. You kind of want to just...
and look at Marino. He's gone into the wall. And sorry for interrupting, but Marino has had a shocker into turn 13 on this first lap.
Yeah, and I can't really tell if any of his front wing is damaged. It's very black. So I won't be able to know as, and Boberto has a little bit of a moment, I guess, because he loses a bunch of positions. And he has no front wing!
Oh, and that's a shame, and he's let Big Mama Frank through. So we'll already be seeing pit stops on the opening lap with Logan, PSQ, and we see a yellow flag off in the distance. Hogan Droldy down at the escape road of turn 14.
Yeah, we have the two Haas's in 9th and 10th, slowly making their way back up from where they lost Rage, making his positions up. But Beamer definitely having to reclaim some of his positions. Boberto decides to, get in pit for his broken front wing. Very important to do. You don't want to stay out on track and block anybody else's lap. And, I mean, what an opening side to the race. I mean, what chaos into turn 1. I mean, we have Mr. Baby just running away with it. And Joel Guron and Technic Speedy jockeying for position. But looks like Joel got the better and just is running away as well with 2nd place.
The top 2 indeed is running away. It is a flashback to the Hamilton-Verstappen battle, them being miles away from another driver.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely making up places. Purple first sector, may I add. And then Ethan Patel in 3rd place. And then followed by NVA, Aero, and Duncan, who's a little further back. Well, this could get into a nice battle for the win, maybe. But
Westbrook sends one down the inside of Rage, and they both make contact. A very pretentious move from Rogue that would never work. That definitely slowed down the pit, a move that wasn't going to help either of them. So
that definitely caught me out there. But as I said, a lot of people will be stuck in these trains. It will be very much like a MotoGP race. No opportunities to overtake. You're just stuck in these giant trains. As Aero cutting track limits, but he's not got a warning yet, or I think he doesn't. Let's check that.
He has 2 warnings.
Oh wow! So Aero will be on a bit of caution mode as I speak. He is in 5th place. He could definitely do better than this, but it is. I think, impossible to overtake in these conditions without... And he's hit the wall as well,
Ooh.
and that's not going to help either.
Yeah,
But as
definitely.
I said, near impossible to overtake, and it will be down to pace and skill alone. There is no GRS. It will be, any overtakes will be on pace and skill around here, and we could see some quality moves, but it will be very difficult to pull them off.
Yeah, as Mr. Baby
Mr.
says, the
Baby.
fastest lap of the race, and Arrow just seems to be completely struggling for grip. Kiganis making his way from P16 to P14. Slight improvement from him. He seems to be stuck behind Cushy and the train out in front of him. Rogue slowly losing a bunch of positions as Arrow gets his eventual 3-second penalty.
They're already with a 3-second time penalty, and that could mean a lot. The threat of a safety car is the highest of the season. In fact, every single race you do around here, there will be a safety car. There will be changeable conditions. There will be crappy weather. So that 3-second penalty could come back to haunt Arrow with safety cars or... Oh, and he's hit another barrier on the entry into 7. And he's gone off the track as well. So Arrow is absolutely out of it, is very much struggling for grip and very much... But he's keeping up with that train in a way.
Yeah, definitely. And we see 2 big trains already. One from P9 to below, and one from... Sorry, P9 to P14, and one from P6 to P8. And some nice trains here, all of them just sitting in each other's slipstreams and dirty air, not having too much fun. Logan gets a 3-second time penalty from 18th to the back of the grid, so he'll be saving that after the fact. And, I mean, nothing really is happening right now. The race is kind of settling down.
Yep. But it is Singapore. You will always... And Aaron Green pits again. And Mr. Baby, 3 tenths faster than Ogur, and only 3 drivers fastest laps above 1 minute 59 in the...
Ooh. Sorry, but Rogue just got an amazing switch back on Fitzdick. Well,
a big one there. And that is exactly where you want to make your pass, because there is nowhere to overtake in this final sector here in Singapore. And I think with this race being so long, we could see fatigue getting involved into this, but Rogue is absolutely making up places. Then his next target is Rage and P9, and if he can get past Rage anytime soon, he'll be out into some pretty good clean air, and he could probably push if he gets past Rage anytime soon, but it's unlikely to happen down in a turn 1, is it?
as Kajanus heads into the pits,
That's very early. And he's gone on to intermediates. He's fitted the inters. Is it drying? Can you tell me from telemetry or... That's very early, but we'll see how that will play out. As Hokadroldi runs wide at turn 1. As Roberto could have been a much better day for him. Aaron Green, 2 pit stops. And Beamer gets Big Mama Frank, and they're fighting through the middle sector. I think, oh, and they've both gone into the barriers, and that's the front wing gone there for Beamer, and that is more contact. They've both gone, and on lap 4 of the Singapore Grand Prix, 2 cars are crashed already, and that is not a good day to be a Haas driver. And Rogue and Beamer NG lets his teammate through. There is a lack of a front wing in the Haas. Marino with a big dive up the inside of Big Mama Frank again. Makes it stick. That is Kaganus. That spun around at turn 8. So I think it still isn't the conditions for intermediate tires. It definitely isn't intermediates just yet, I think. It's... Give it 5 laps too early. Rage. And a disappointing start for Haas. This is a very chaotic start here. And look at this. Just so many cars jockeying around for position on on this confines. Contact everywhere, left, right, center. In this final sector, you aren't supposed to make a pass here. Fitzdickle, however, pisses on that, and just gets Rage into turn 19. And see how much Rage is struggling as well. He's lost his front left end plate, and he's barged the wall again, and that's Big Mama Frank pitting, and Joe Guron has left the session. And so many people into the pits already, and it's only lap 5, so opportunities are there. Rage going wide at turn 1. He's going to be fighting with Cushy for 10th place. Cushy gets that done easily into turn 3 and out of turn 4 as well. Ben getting caught up and he has to lose momentum and he's losing time, but Beamer and G must be disappointed, to say the least, and same with Big Mama Frank here. They've both got to be disappointed because they've lost a lot of points, especially in the case of for both drivers. And Beamer fitting on the intermediate tires, same with Big Mama Frank. Kaginis says no, he's going back to the full wets, I think, and he's repairing his front wing. I know he's taken another set of intermediates. Kaginis, may he go to the flag? I think can he go to the flag on this intermediate? It could be a very bold choice, but we'll see from the lap times if the intermediate tire ends up working or not. And Mr. Baby, the fastest lap, 1:59.1. Gulgurin up to the line. And Ethan Patel, 1:58.5. So we are going to get some pretty fast lap times here in Singapore. As Rogue, the other Mercedes man, a 1:58.5 as well. So this track is improving quickly. And the AlphaTauris of Kishi and Fitz. As Fitzstick goes into the pits for a set of intermediate tires.
Hey, I am back.
Yeah, a lot has happened since then.
Well, tell me about it.
Beamer and Big Mama Frank had an incident on lap 4.
Oh no.
And a lot of cars have pitted for intermediate tires. I think it could be that this track is just getting better every lap. And Logan spins out of the final corner. He is fine, and he's on the track, but he has spun out of the final corner, so it might just be some tricky conditions out here for intermediate tires. And Rage pits, and same with Hulk Giraldi.
Yeah, bottom 12 drivers are all on intermediate tires, so definitely showing a change. Beamer going fastest overall.
Look at Beamer here on Fitz into turn 7. He gets the move done, and what did I say? It was impossible to overtake here, but Beamer had just said no to that. He's made it stick.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, a lot of these wet drivers are going to have to start thinking about how long is these wet tires going to be viable for before these intermediates start undercutting them.
Aaron Green pits again, but so he could be at risk. Mr. Baby, the race leader, is in the pit lane, and Marina has a 3-second time penalty. Joel Guron pits, NVA will also pit. The Red Bulls are probably going to be double stacking. Arrow will stay another lap, and he's had a huge moment out of that final corner. But Mr. Baby in the pits, and he carries on with his work. He carries on that intermediate tire. So we are seeing tire changes as both the Red Bulls pit, Technic Speedy into the pits himself, and Joe Gurn again leaving the session, which might just force Red Bull into panic.
Yeah, definitely. That's not a good sign right there. As a Beamer, the one who pit early on the intermediates, has gained some form of like traction to the top 10 leaders, but just not enough to make himself in that fight right now at the moment, which is very unfortunate for Beamer, who had gone to the incident with BMF.
He could be on for something here. He could be up to 8th or 9th. And Joe Gurn is back. But let's see, Arrow, is he gaining anything on those? Is Mr. Baby gaining on him? And yes, he is. I think those full wets are just... I'm just watching the telemetry or the interval from Arrow to Mr. Baby, and Arrow just lost about half a second in 3 corners to Mr. Baby. Yeah. So it is definitely time for intermediates.
Yeah, definitely. And it will be time for the not for the wets to dry soon, as the track is leading to dry up, says the telemetry. So the track will be getting better. Not only that, but it says on the telemetry as well that the track's going to get wet again. So might we see 4 pit stops this race?
We could see up to 5 for those that do hit a wall or do get damage.
Yeah, very painful
We might
race.
get it might be wet, but how have we gone 7 laps into this race without there being a safety car on this street circuit where mistakes are punished? With walls so close, how have we gone this long without a safety car, especially in these tough conditions?
I guess that just shows you the cleanliness of D3. I mean, last season it also showed one of the divisions with the lowest amount of tickets. I believe. Someone please prove me wrong in chat if I am. I think G3 is generally the cleaner sides of the division due to these guys normally being around the learning part stage of the game. I'm not saying like, oh my god, they don't know anything, they're not quick. But in the sense of that, they have lots of room to grow. And I feel like they're more patient with their driving versus D2 and D1 drivers who are always trying to push at maximum. You know? Constantly just trying to, like, you know, get around drivers and such. But yeah, I think D3 drivers are more patient.
See what Arrow's gone here. Has he gained anything? And Joe Gurley being AI for a bit has definitely impacted his charge. See, out of the pit lane, they're going to be Arrow and and Joel Gurley are not going to be side by side. And Beamer with a 154.7. That is a fast time.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Arrow has a fourth place, only 2 seconds behind NV. I don't think that's a bad pit stop that he did. I think his strategy was fine. I mean, imagine if Arrow didn't even have that spin at the final sector. He would have probably been ahead of NVA.
Yep. Very much could have been ahead of NVA, as he said. But no ifs, no buts. We've got 24 laps remaining in this race, so a lot could still happen. There could be big moments still. So nothing is set in stone except Mr. Baby is out in the lead here in Singapore. And he is leading in a comfortable fashion. 11 seconds. 3 seconds behind Joel Gurley, and then another 9 seconds back from Joel is his teammate NVA.
Yeah, as Rogue sets the fastest for his sector, so he's definitely putting down a lot of pace right now, trying to cling his way up back to the top of the field where, I mean, he deserved to be in the first place, but I guess he had an unfortunate qualifying. But I guess, I mean, he's going like what? What did he position again? P15, P16? I believe.
He was out of Q1, but...
Yeah, he was out of Q1, and now he's in the top 6, so Rogue can definitely be happy with the position he's in right now. I mean, that's where you kind of want to be, right? Especially when certain people who have qualification bans, including myself this week. I don't know who else has one. I think Maxime as well. I mean, these conditions promote really good overtakes and really good racing. So, you know, I'm definitely praying for a wet race to come tomorrow.
I hope it's I hope it's like this where it starts off wet and then it becomes dry, or it's a changeable conditions race. Arrow with another time penalty. That will definitely come back to haunt him. 6 seconds in 9 laps. That is concerning.
Yeah, as Rogue, Bima, and Ethan Patel are trading fastest sectors right now. So those three Muppets are definitely putting down some rubber. So love to see what they can do if they can catch up to Duncan. Maybe make some sort of a threat to Duncan, and maybe even Arrow, who has a 6-second time penalty.
Yep, you're right. Let's see. Arrow is on penalties, down in around 7th place, but a lot can still happen. It's going to be a long one here.
Yeah, definitely.
See,
as we're only
Greg
9 laps
Roberto.
through the race.
Roberto is still out on that wet. Is still out on the wet. And what is he doing on that tire? What is Roberto doing on that tire?
I have no idea. Maybe a failed pit stop. Something like that. Maybe didn't set the right tires, because this track is currently getting drier by the each 5 minutes, so that might not be good.
Gets up the inside into turn 7, and that's job done. He's up in a 14th. I just look at what's happened to NVA. He's dropped so much time. He's nearly 10 seconds behind. I think NVA may just be recharging things, or has had a moment somewhere, because he has lost a lot of time to his teammate Joel Gurley.
Yeah, definitely. Also, Duncan's losing a lot of time to Rogue behind him. Duncan seems to be struggling a little bit. Maybe just having a little bit of just not pushing too hard, but I definitely see Rogue, Ethan Patel, and Beema definitely putting down and just pushing just to try to make up positions right now. But Duncan, I think, just taking a little bit safer route, being a little bit more reserved, but definitely only being a couple tenths off there at times. But yeah, let's see what happens here. Rogue has a great chance of making an opportunity to overtake. Let's see what Duncan does.
Better to be safe than to be sorry. I think Duncan may just be taking it a bit more cautious, because you never know with these things. You never know with these things, and you definitely don't know what could happen. Maybe someone at the front crashes, or someone at the back has a moment somewhere that could trigger the safety car. And it is interesting to me that we have gone 10 laps into this race, and we've gone a third of the way into this race, and there still hasn't been a safety car. So I think that just puts into how clean this league is at the minute, especially this division.
Mm-hmm.
The NVA has left the session.
Oh,
That will.
that'd be 2 Red Bull drivers who have disconnected now.
Both the Red Bulls having disconnections. That is not good. And Aero ramming it over the curb at turn 11, and Marino has had a spin at turn 8.
And that is the safety car.
Yep, I said it.
Yeah, this definitely saved NVA, unless his AI pits.
NVA has definitely been saved by the safety car.
Yeah, so...
and it's also going to bring back Hagenes. It's going to bring back a lot of people. This could be a very interesting race from here on.
Definitely. I mean, some of these drivers are going to get a chance to recharge their batteries, recenter their focus. I was hoping for no safety cars, just so this race goes on a bit smoother, but I guess it is all what it is, and all these drivers are going to have to now bunch up. None of these drivers should be really making pit stops besides Barbados, so it should be pretty simple and easy for these guys to group up and get back to racing.
Yeah. So it could be an interesting ending here to the Singapore
Oh, as
Grand
Mr.
Prix.
Baby's going on to the hard compound tires.
Oh, that's bold. That is very bold. And he is having Mr. Baby taking the gamble of his life. And Aero as well is in the pits. So I think a lot of people are coming into the pits to change tires. So who knows what we could be seeing? Could we be seeing drivers on... Yep, Aero as well. On the mediums, and that will be a big ask to get those to the flag, but Mr. Baby is proving himself competent out there, and he's having a slide.
Yeah, this track is not nearly as dry as I think Mr. Baby thinks it is. It's either that, or he's expecting the track to dry up sometime soon, and is going to use the fact that everyone's going to pit along with him, that there's going to be a very long safety car.
He could be. You never know. Aero, I think, could be on for a good result here, but if he wants to make it to the end on that medium tire, he will have to do a tire management type race.
I don't think that's going to be big of a problem, especially especially the fact that he's not going to really be pushing these few laps. I mean, medium tires have about, 20 laps of life in them. I think he has more than enough of a chance to fight really hard, but the only difference is that the medium tire has a bigger drop-off than the hard tire, so he's going to have to make all those overtakes very early into the race, so he's going to be struggling throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it will be a race where some drivers will be going bald. And a lot of the drivers at the back of the field have pitted for slicks, might I add. So, doesn't look too wet out there.
Yeah, telemetry says it's going to be stopped raining in about a minute, less than a minute. So, hopefully it's right, and all these drivers get a good... the drivers who have taken the risk have been blessed, and the drivers who have been safe get punished.
Let's see, because...
I hope not, because my boy Duncan is out, and I hope he's not wrong.
I hope Kishi... I hope the rain stays for a bit longer with Kishi.
Yeah, me too. Me too, don't worry.
Half of me also wants Fitz to get past some of these guys on the hard, so it's... One half of me wants the rain to stay, and one half of me wants the rain to...
Go away for the competitiveness, yeah.
Yeah, and instantly. It happens. It just... Things that happen.
Oh, and everyone else is pitting. Everyone else is pitting. Yep, everyone else is pitting.
Yeah, it is still a very difficult track on those wet tires, as I mentioned.
Yeah, and again, saying this, the people who have been blessed with a good call, Mr. Baby with an amazing early call, Duncan promoting himself to P3 under the pit stop, so very good.
Great shot from him, especially that Ferrari. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't very quick on the intermediate stint, so fair play to him for lifting himself up and possibly fighting for a podium.
So now the funny thing here, Mr. Magnussen, is that if this rain stays, everyone's screwed.
Yeah, everyone. There was just nothing about it.
Yeah, everyone's equally screwed in this position, so hopefully the rain stays. I want to see an interesting race.
And Kishi spun.
Oh,
no one I want to see. No damage done though, but he has spun out of the pit exit. It is an interesting ending to this Singapore Grand Prix for sure. It will be... The rain has stopped, but will this track dry up or will it not? Because this will be a race where I think some of these guys on the medium tire will struggle if it stays dry for the remaining 20 laps. This will be a race where the medium runners will struggle near the end for tires. So we could see some interesting moments. Some of those guys on the hards are planning to go right to the end of the race. What's happened in these incoming 30 seconds?
Nothing.
Safety car?
Safety car's not going to be coming in anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
There's
have
a-
draft drivers 20
like-
seconds behind. Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah,
a
it's
minute.
not-
So everyone, go get a drink, go get some water, go hydrate yourself, go eat some popcorn or something. I don't know. Go do something at this time because you're going to have about, I think, 2 more laps of this safety
Yeah.
car before we have any sort of action. And sadly, the rain is slowly going away. So you will not be getting any really cool, fun, interesting mixed weather action. But I'm telling you right now, these hard runners tires must not feel great at all, being freezing cold.
They definitely will be, and it will definitely be a struggle, I think, getting that hard tire to warm up. Especially knowing that the medium warms up at a decent rate, but the hard tire just doesn't warm up at all. It's very difficult to actually get the hard tire to warm up in this game for some reason, especially on tracks like this with not a lot of energy-intensive corners.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I mean, technically yes, technically no, but I just mean the track is so cold right now. It's at about 24 degrees Celsius, which is freezing for any sort of kind of race track temp. So yeah, these medium runners are going to have the advantage of being on the softer and easier to warm up tires. So Aaron might see and had a little bit of an advantage, though even though he has a 6-second penalty, that is going to hurt him a lot.
yep. Arrow's going to have to put in the laps of his life if he wants to win this race. And unlike, and hopefully he doesn't bottle it on the restart, like he did in Jeddah and D4 with 3 laps to go. So I think Arrow could be in contention to win this, could be in contention for a podium, and definitely not. And no, the safety car is going to be in at the end of this lap, which means Hokage, Roldy, Kat Guinness, Aaron Green, and Logan are probably going to miss this. And NVA could be dealt the holy hand of hell by the game servers.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be an interesting...
Let's see, NVA on this restart, he's on the hard tires. Let's see, some of these drivers don't have their hards ready to warm up. When will Mr. Baby pin that throttle to start this race? He's dropped it out of the final corner, and he leads the field away. NVA still in AI, and Arrow already looking for tire temperature into T1, and he's already lost the place in AI. But NVA losing it instantly after because of the AI. He's getting overtaken by Ethan Patel. It's been a restart to forget for NVA as Ethan Patel loses places. He's down to 8th. And as this safety car, as this AI, NVA is back, but he will be ruined the opportunity, I think. He's lost 2-3 places already.
Yeah, I mean, Technic Speedy and Ben going wheel to wheel right now. Ben just really trying to hog up for positions. I mean, he's on the medium tires. He needs to make as much positional changes as possible in this early
and
stage of the
Kishi
lap.
and Big Mama Frank. Oh, they've made minor contact. And Marino. The battle Oh, and Marino getting loose over that curb, and Rage is going to get him, I think, into the middle sector, into turn 10. They're going to be side by side. Rage backs out of it.
Smart
Takes
man.
a mature option.
Yeah. I mean, Ethan Purcell getting all the way in the back of NVA right now. Definitely going to be looking to make a move.
We will also have a 15-minute delay for Division 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just got notified by someone.
Yes. It's called Safety Car Plus Rain, that's why.
Huh.
Yeah, this race is definitely going to be picking up a lot quicker now. As the race is the field's kind of spreading out right now. Not much is happening too much. I think the closest people right now is BMF, along with the AlphaTauri sandwich he's placed in currently.
It's the meat sandwich, and he's a sandwich. He's the filling in an AlphaTauri sandwich.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know about these medium runners, man. I don't know if they're gonna make it.
It will be tough. It will be very tough to make it, I think, for these guys.
They're gonna have to do 16 more laps on these tires.
Some of these guys will be, I think, pitting near the end, and there will be a safety car near the end of this race. Also, Kaganis has been given a 3-second time penalty for track limits.
Unfortunate.
And he's not having a good day at all down in 17th place. Oh, and Rogue and Beamer. Rogue, Duncan, and Beamer side by fighting for position. That gets settled in the way of the Ferrari driver. Got a bit more to give, I think, and NVA has had a horrible restart. Ben and the Williams up to 9th place, which is a good showing, and the AlphaTauris of Fitz Dickwell and Kishi being split up by Big Mama Frank, and Big Mama Frank is all over the rear of Fitz as we speak.
Yeah, Duncan falling back a little bit from Zio Alejandre, who is not going to have the most fun time. Give it 10 more laps. He's actually going to be a second slower than Duncan race pace-wise. So I think the hards were the right strategy. I don't think the mediums are going to be the call for this race. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, you're right, 100%. I hope we get some action on the softs near the end of this race, but the mediums will not make it without a big drop-off, I think. We could see some punctures near the end of this race.
Definitely.
And DRS gets enabled, so Arrow versus Joel Guron. The battle here between Aston Martin and Red Bull.
Yeah, nothing much is going to come of that. I think Mr. Baby definitely has the pace advantage. He's lapping about a second quicker than Joel Guron, so...
Oh, that is a lot. Arrow on the medium tires, and tire difference around here is very, very powerful, especially from the medium to the hards. And let's see, yep. Oh, and down into turn 7, Arrow gets the position with a bit of overtake. Let's see, Duncan versus Rogue versus Beamer, and they are not close enough, especially Rogue on Duncan. And there is another train led by NVA out here. But Rogue has had a great race up to this point. He's made up 11 places. But the same can't be said for Baberto. He started on the front row, and he's basically done the opposite to what Rogue did.
Yeah, he's gone backwards instead of forwards.
Oh, and there's a moment with Logan. He's gone wide, and Aaron Green is all over the back of him. But there isn't much of an opportunity to overtake in this.
This looks like an incident, and 2 drivers.
There is an incident, and Ben has gone into the barriers at the hairpin. So, commentators curse there, I fear.
Yeah, not only that, I think just Fitz broke too late, and BMF as well. And they all were just about to just spin each other magically. So that wasn't a good move from both drivers, so stewards will definitely be looking at that later on.
Definitely not a good move. Definitely not a good move. Arrow, with a penalty, he has already gapped Joel Guron, actually. And he's about 7/10 of that clear, but Mr. Baby out here, very, very fast. And Arrow with a 141.4. That is a wreck.
That is quick. That is quick.
That is a quick lap time, and I think Arrow will absolutely want to make up as many places as he can, as much track position, and then defend for his life to stay on the podium. He wants to defend on the medium tire. Ooh, and Logan around in the final sector. Not a good day for him, but Arrow, I think, all Arrow wants to do now is just push flat out and wait for those mediums to get to 50-60%. They drop off, and then he just defends for his life. Because he knows he's going to have Duncan, who isn't very quick. Ooh, and they're fighting Duncan versus Rogue versus Beamer, and Beamer
Yeah,
versus
Beamer's-
Duncan, actually. Rogue is up in a P4. Duncan holds the place, but Beamer will try to cut back into the middle section of the lap.
Beam a smart move, not willing to fight through there. It's not really a
Yeah,
corner
it's-
where you overtake. It's literally death if you both go through there. So it's nice to
it's very
see.
difficult.
Yeah, it's nice to
It's
see
very
these.
difficult in these big cars to go through there. No, there's a yellow flag, and that is... Oh! That's Arrow. Another one in the commentator's curse book. Oh, and he's completely gone and trashed it as well. That's Arrow's Grand Prix gone. That's Arrow's Grand Prix gone. If he will need another safety car now. He's got a third of the lap without a front wing. And all the potential that he had in this race has just gone down the toilet.
Yeah, definitely very unfortunate for Arrow. I mean, he was having such a good race. I mean, those 6-second penalties were definitely souring his position. But he was definitely going to be able to do something with it. But unfortunately, he won't be able to do anything with it at this point. Thankfully for him, you still score points with Zero's point system. But he won't be scoring points at the moment.
He won't be scoring big, that's for sure. And Technic Speedy and Big Mama Frank fighting. And oh, Ethan Patel, they're taking to the runoff area. More contact. And Ethan is in the wall, I think. And there is some sliding from Fitzstickler as well. Down into the Raffles Boulevard, it will go soon onto the longest straight of the circuit. And Big Mama Frank with a good exit out there on the back. And he's got him. He's got Ethan well before the straight. Ethan doesn't have battery. And Big Mama Frank has a bit more to give, but will he use it? To pull away, I think he definitely will. But right now, all eyes will probably be kept on Rogue. He started 16th, and he is up to 3rd place. That is quite a good race at this minute, but I already cursed 2 people, so... Oh, and Ho controlled with another moment off into the runoff area as Logan and Aaron Green side by side. Oh, and Aaron gets spun! And that's a hit with a wall. And I don't think that's any damage, but that's Aaron in the barrier, and he's trying to get out of it as well. And he is losing time, and losing a lot more time.
Yeah, I mean, nothing much interesting happening in the top 5. All of them about a second or at least a little bit more of a gap. Mr. Baby creating a 4-second gap to Joel Garon. So, I mean, let me forget about that for a second. But Rogue made his way all the way from bottom 15 to top 3 in this race.
That is an incredible drive from him. That is incredible.
Yeah, probably one of the best we'll see in Singapore for this week.
Yeah, definitely. I think it could well be the best unless, I don't know, Maxime or you or anyone in D2 pulls out the drive of their lives.
Nah, I send my car into the back of Red Bulls too much to have that happen to me. But anyways,
I'll probably put it in the wall somewhere out of like P2 or P3. I'm fast here, but I can crash. I'm human after all.
yeah, Bima and NVA banging wheels.
Oh, NVA.
Oh, it's
and
close.
Big Mama Frank. Oh, big one there. And down into turn 8, Big Mama Frank with a great exit. He's going to have another chance, and Aaron Green is out of the race. It's a pit lane retirement, and side by side into the Padang, and NVA does the smart move and backs out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing driving from these two. BMF charging down the field right now with his medium tires. Wouldn't be charging so much in the next 10 laps, but definitely using as much.
And NVA's gone wide. That's wide from NVA. Carried too much speed and nearly hit the barrier. But it is not a good day to be an Aston Martin driver.
Oh no, definitely not.
Definitely not.
Unfortunate.
Aaron gets another penalty.
Yeah, yeah, definitely unfortunate to be an Aston
Marino.
Martin fan right now at the moment. As it-
Ooh, and Arrow again having a moment at turn 8, and his miserable race just gets even worse.
yeah.
I think all that Arrow should do right now is just pit for softs with 3
Oh,
laps to
BMF's
go
won.
and just- Oh yeah, BMF as well, getting caught out in the final sector, and that is probably an end to his charge for points, or a top 10.
Not even that, top 5 even. I mean, he was
Yeah.
on to fight for Duncan for the P5 position, but I guess Duncan's pretty safe now.
Duncan is indeed safe in P5. NVA leading a bit of a train from Ethan Patel, Fitz Dickwell, and Kishi, and that's another one with Errol. And that's him out of the race, and that could well be another safety car.
I hope not, because
Oh.
how do you crash? How do you crash twice?
Yeah, how do you?
How do you do that? Just retire?
Yeah,
You should have just retired
you're
in the
gonna
pits.
be pretty. You gotta be pretty skilled. And Errol has trashed it in the final sector, but his car has been recovered by the Singapore marshals, who seem to be pretty efficient today.
Yeah, I think Hokage ruled he's about to retire into the pits.
Yeah, Aston Martin. A race to forget, I think, today. They've got a race to forget.
And Mercedes has a race to definitely remember, as Rogue is now at the back of Joel Guron, so this might be a Mercedes one too.
This could very well be what they're missing in real life F1.
And not only
A
that,
1-2
this is
from-
what they were missing last week when in Bahrain they almost had a 1-2, but the safety car messed them up. So maybe we'll see another safety car mess them up. Who knows?
I don't know. In real life F1, I despise them as a team. I don't want them to be anywhere near the front. Anyway, anyway, let's get back to ZRL.
Yeah, well, currently, your most hated team is currently doing the most bestest job of beating the Red Bulls, and Rook's doing an amazing job of pacing himself towards Joel Guron, who is kind of a sitting duck in this position. Let's see the battery difference right now. Joel's on 30, not Mr. Baby, sorry, Rogue's on 11. But funny thing is, Rogue is just a quicker driver around the sections without DRS, and not only that, he does have DRS, so it seems like this is going to be a nice pass for Rogue to do, and he's going to have to maintain this gap to Joel Guron to see a Mercedes 1-2, but that won't happen this turn because he just decides to have a little bit of a moment at the exit.
Let's see, down in the 7, it'll have to be a big send, and Rogue backs out of it. Let's talk about Beamer NG, because he's having a good race, even despite the accident. As I said, it doesn't matter where you are on lap 5. There's such an opportunity of safety cars, crashes, rain. It can spice everything up, so Beamer NG has just proved my point that I made in qualifying. He just completely proved what I was saying in qualifying. It doesn't matter where you qualify. All that matters is just keeping it out of the wall. This is a race all about survival.
Definitely. And I mean, not only that, apparently there's going to be light rain in about 19 minutes, says the telemetry. So we might see
That could be near the end of the race.
Yeah. It's not going to be enough to affect the pit stop. But it's definitely going to be enough to make the ending of this race a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, it could make it a tough ending, but here in Singapore, but Mr. Baby has led. Oh!
Oh, you saw that too? Oh
Yeah,
my!
that
I had a
scared me.
heart attack, dude.
Oh my god, that scared me. I thought he just went straight,
Dude, I got quiet. That's how scared I got.
and then I screamed.
Yeah, but Rogue needs to do. He needs to recharge his
thi-
battery. He needs to sit back and be patient.
I think Rogue is just doing that right now. He's just waiting for Joel to make a mistake somewhere. Joel has got about 15 to 20% more battery, and I think he'll definitely use it on this straight. If Rogue is close enough, he doesn't bottle the exit, which in this case he runs a bit closer to the wall. He doesn't do it. He'll be fine, but
Well, Rogue will definitely not be that patient of a driver right now because he has BeamNG behind him, who's not going to be as patient as we've seen in
Either.
Bahrain. I mean, Beamer being a very aggressive driver, and that's not a bad thing. Beamer definitely making himself more known on the track and banging a bit more wheels, which is nice to see from him. So Rogue's going to have to try his best to get around Joel as quick as possible, so Joel has to deal with Beamer instead of the other way around. So he might want to be spending his battery a little bit more these next couple of laps.
yeah, it'll definitely happen here in Singapore. 10 laps to go on this race, and I think that we could still see a bit of trouble brewing, especially now that this race will be getting into its dying stages, and the fatigue will be getting there. I think tires will drop off, especially the people on the medium, and
Yeah, Joel is
Generally,
making
the-
mistakes.
Joel, though, making that Red Bull as wide as it could possibly be. He just wants P2 in this race at all costs, and Beamer as well has kind of dropped back by about 3-4 tenths. He's dropped back a little bit, maybe to save some battery, maybe to save tires if he really thinks so. Into turn 1, though. This is Rogue's first real opportunity, I think, at a move. Doesn't do it, and Marino having a poor outing, and he's spun at turn 20.
Unfortunate.
See, this is the back straight, and they've got about 10% of battery difference.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a chance.
This is definitely going to be a chance into the Raffles Boulevard.
Oh, it kind of
And
blocks Rogue there. But Rogue
That's a
still
block, and
sends it.
That's some contact, but Joel defends the position. Great move. Even if there was a little bit of contact, that is the hard racing we want to see.
Yeah, Rogue tried to go up the inside where there wasn't even any space, and Joel wasn't going to be giving that space to him as he sticks his nose up the... No!
That is such a dangerous spot. And Rogue is, I think, starting to run out of patience now. He's probably pissed off at the fact that he can't get past. And Beamer running wide as well. Joel Guron trying to break the toe. I don't know it's going to work. It's such a... And Kaganis versus Logan as well. They're side by side, but Logan gets a position.
Yeah, Rogue being very impatient right now. He wants to get past Joel as quick as possible. And I mean...
Well, there's the yellow flag in Sector 2, and that's Marino with a spin, and he's recovered back onto the track, and that's, I think, just a poor showing for the Alfa Romeo driver today. Just not a good showing. He's struggled to make moves. He struggled a lot of the race, and Hoka Droldi, 1 minute, miles behind the rest of the field, but he's got another 3 seconds, so race to forget for Aston.
Yeah, definitely. As I mean, Rogue is definitely going to be having to do another charge as he has a moment. Unfortunate from the Mercedes driver. Hasn't lost too much time.
I think that'll probably put him out of DRS. That may have put him. He's now at risk from Beamer. And Beamer is definitely using some of the battery to get away. Down in a 7. Will it go? Not quite. Not close enough. Maybe down into turn 14 about work if... Oh, and Beamer runs wide. That's wide. Yeah. Avoided the barrier of death. Now, I'd be pretty pissed off if I was in Rogue's position. I had a race like this. D2 around Spain. It was exactly like this. Me behind Colin Edwards or Klinsman. The entire time. It was just very difficult to move. Very difficult to pass because Barcelona doesn't have a lot of long straights, just like this track, and DRS isn't that powerful because both tracks also have high wings. That doesn't make it that powerful. Now Rogue again. Joel Guron has about 25% more battery, and he's wasting that precious 160 kilowatts of charge. Down in a turn 7. It won't be this time for Joel. I think Rogue doesn't have enough battery. There's yellow flags in Sector 3, and that's Kaganis going around at the final corner. Not a good showing for him as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean... Everyone's kind of grouped out by a couple of seconds now, besides Rogan, Joel, and Bima, who are in this little train of fighting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens so far. I mean, currently NVA on 2 warnings, Joel Guron on 2, and Mr. Baby on 2, so we might see some penalties right here. Bima also at 2 warnings, so anyone in the top 5 right now can get a time penalty, besides Duncan, who has no warnings, actually.
I think that's why Duncan was driving a bit slower than usual. He was just trying to keep it safe because I think he may just know there could be a safety car in the last 5 laps. And he could easily be up there if anyone gets a time penalty through corner cutting. Because as he said, a lot of people in the top 4 have, I think everyone in the top 4 has 2 warnings.
Yes.
They're on their last strike. 1 more, and that's 3 seconds. We could see some interesting penalty avoidance skills.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the more Joel and Rogue fight wheel to wheel, the more chances they have of going off and getting a track limits warning. And Mr. Baby, I'm sorry, not Mr. Baby. I keep saying Mr. Baby. Rogue seems to not be liking his first turn so far, as his Karen's pretty much struggling to stay planted coming into the corner. This could be due to very high aero on the rear and downforce on the rear not working too well. So he's definitely running a lot of positive rake, the Mercedes. So he's going to have to be worrying about that from now on.
Bit close there, but doesn't seem to be close enough. Into turn 8. Is he going to have a chance? Yes, he is. And then they made contact.
Yeah,
They made contact, and that's Rogue gone. That's Rogue gone. He's down to P4.
Yeah, that wasn't a clean move from Rogue. A big send by him. Too impatient. He could have had P3 right now and had the chance of claiming P2. He has the pace, but I guess he just gets too impatient and makes a dumb move like that.
Yeah, it just impatience things, especially on a track like this. Very difficult to overtake. I think people just want to make... Oh, and Dunk and Beamer getting very close. The back of Joe Guron.
Now, the real question is, did Rogue give Joel some damage? Because that Red Bull doesn't look as quick as it did a couple seconds ago.
I think it may just look a bit... It may just look fine. Let me see into here. Looks fine.
Not visually. Damage doesn't always go through. Could be like a yellowing, stuff like that.
Yeah, the visual-wise, it's fine, but we'll have to see pace-wise, I think.
Nope, that the end plate's bent.
Let's see, yeah.
Looks a little. Does it look a little bent? I can't tell too far. But all I know is that he's got sent to the wall. It must not feel too great for Joel,
Yeah,
who's...
he definitely does a bit more understeer in the low speed. And Duncan could be getting involved into this.
Stroll gets a bit wobbly then, turn 1.
Oh.
Yeah, Rogue is going to
And
be
Beamer as
very
well, getting a
impatient.
bit. And I hope, if Beamer does get the point, I hope the Haas driver and D2 combined YouTuber also gets in there, but I think it'll be a bit tougher for him.
Yeah, definitely. As Rogue is definitely going to be interested in making his way around Beamer back to the position he was originally in. Duncan definitely getting behind this whole train right now. I think Duncan's idea is just, hey, let me just sit back and let these guys do damage to themselves and just take care of, like, whatever penalties come their way. Because, I mean, you're sailing fine.
Yeah.
Everyone in front of you is in a bad position besides you.
And look at Logan. He spun at turn 3 into 4. Front wing's gone, and yeah, that could be a bit more. Kishi as well with, I think, an incident. But Logan, there could be a chance of a safety car. NVA with a 3-second time penalty. That will surely put him down to PA7.
And this is what I'm saying. A lot of these guys in the top 6 are just literally one strike away from just ruining the entire race, and especially how close they are. This can help.
Ooh, look at Joel. Sorry for interrupting, but look at Joel Gurn. He's made a mistake. Oh, and Beamer spun round. Another commentator's curse and another reset to track.
I would hate for Rogue to spit. I'm kidding. Obviously, very unfortunate for Beamer, who's had such a strong race.
3 people on my commentator's curse today. How am I this?
Don't talk about the Ferraris. Don't you dare talk about the Ferraris.
I literally helped out to win the D2 Constructors title with them last season. And I did make you mad in the process about Monaco and Spain.
Yeah, but either way, let's see Rogue right now. He's got a second chance to go against Joel. Joel's going to be a bit more wary.
Does.
I don't think Joel's going to be trusting Rogue around him anymore. So I think Joel's going to be defending a lot harder these times. I don't think if maybe Rogue hasn't learned his lesson. Maybe he has, but we'll definitely see in this.
Rogue has got overtake. He's got the move for sure. Down the outside at T7. Joel runs him out of racetrack and into 8. It's definitely on. The battle is on here.
It's definitely a fair move. Joel's allowed to definitely claim his space on. Oh, no, Rogue. That's not an overtaking zone.
That's not gonna be. That's not. And Rogue somehow gets it done.
Oh, but
Beautiful.
Joel's fighting back.
They're side by side into the Anderson Bridge.
Oh,
thank God.
Oh my God! This is some aggressive racing from these two.
This is some brilliant racing, though. Hard racing. The type of racing we want to watch. And I said overtaking was going to be difficult. Well, it hasn't. If Rogue has made up 14th place in this race. As Kaganis goes fastest of them all with a 140.8, but it won't really matter too much at this point. He is not really in contention for much. And Hokadraldi is about to get lapped by the race leader, Mr. Baby, having a very good race. Led most of it from pole position. Survived the safety car, and I think he will be on for a great
Yeah, and I mean, Rogue already gapping Joe Guron. I think Rogue is not going to be getting away with without a penalty though for putting Joel on the wall, and I think Joel might have a little bit of damage because, I mean, he already got gapped by Rogue in under a second, so definitely something's up there with the Red Bull, as people are just
think
getting lashed out with time penalties right now.
Yeah, I think Joel might report that incident with the wall, but with Rogue, but I think it's still 50-50. It may have been a minor tap, but we'll find out
Yeah,
post race in these results.
definitely. I'm gonna definitely take a look at Joel's POV and ask him to see it, because I got a good look at Rogue's
Ooh.
POV. It didn't look like too much of a dive bomb. He was at his rear wheel, but at the same time, he did brake pretty late, and Joel did turn in a lot earlier than expected because he was not expecting him to brake that late. So,
Yeah, I think it's probably just a racing incident. Both
yeah,
drivers.
definitely. I agree. I can agree with that. Yeah.
But let's see, because there's 3 laps to go. I think the Red Bull is definitely starting to struggle as, ooh, Rogue having a moment. Am I just becoming stupid or something? Because I see people moving to the left out of T14 for whatever reason.
I just saw that as well, but I only saw that for Rogue so far.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's-
NVA with the 3-second time penalty, he, even if he does overtake Duncan, there is no advantage gained from him.
Yeah.
So I guess Duncan is sitting pretty right now. Let's look at over at Technic Speedy. He's had a really good race. I mean, from Bahrain to this is a huge improvement. P5 actually is not bad for the American driver.
See. So it's a race to remember for Mercedes, but we've still got 2 laps to go. A Nigel Mansell Canada 91 could happen, and Boberto comes into the pits for, I don't know why, honestly. Might he be going for fastest lap just to get the extra point, or he might just be going for fastest lap here. The long stop is well away, I think, or he's out of the pit limit. I think Boberto is on a definite fastest lap run here in Singapore. Hoka Droldi about to get lapped by race leader Mr. Baby. But nevertheless, it's been a terrible race for Aston Martin. Their main driver, Aero, spinning out and crashing while on course for a good result. And Hoka Droldi just hoping in it. Logan with another penalty. That's going to put him on 15 seconds of time penalties, which is kind of hard to get. NVA, Beamer, Rage, and Kaganis, and Hoka Droldi have 3 seconds, and Bruno, Boberto, and Logan have more. As Kaganis versus Logan again on the last lap, or on the second last laps. That's the move done there.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Duncan 45 falling a bit behind Rogue Angel, so he will not be taking advantage of any sort of pre-race? No. Post-race penalties. Yeah.
I think he still could. A 5-second for Rogue, if he does get punished for the dive bomb, could
True. Yeah, true.
And there's also still half a lap to go, so that's Kaganis off at the hairpin, but will mean a lot. There's the last lap for him. It's the last lap. There will be no safety car dished out on the final lap, and I think we've just avoided that second band of rain that was scheduled to hit on the last few laps of the race. We've just avoided that.
Yeah, rain's actually coming in 2 minutes, actually.
Yeah, we've probably avoided the second band of rain, which is interesting. Because I think one more safety car and we would have had it. Maybe another 2, and we might have... that's Boberto. It's bent into the wall. He's held up behind Big Mama Frank, who's not very fast, but round the final couple of corners goes Mr. Baby.
Ooh, NV
in the
getting
Mercedes.
really impatient.
Getting An incredible drive from him, and he wins! Here on the streets of Singapore, he's your Division 3 winner. Here on the city streets of Marina Bay. And it's a Mercedes 1-2 finish.
And it's raining.
And it just started to rain. Joel Gurna, ooh, and Duncan just getting fourth at the line. NVA down to P6. Fitz Dickwell gets Beamer NG. That's their top 8. Big Mama Frank in P9.
Oh,
So-
and Marina spins because of the rain.
And Marino has blown his front wing off. And the DRS has been disabled. We were lucky to avoid this second band of heavy rain, that's for sure.
Yeah, these last couple of drives are going to have to go through a little bit of pain, and wow, he just went into the wall. Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
raining.
really.
It's a downpour already.
Yeah, it's already started. I was right with the downpour predictions. Not uncommon in this part of the world for races to be affected by random downpours, and you can see there the puddles just forming up on the circuit.
Wow, yeah, wow, that is really, really wet. And he
It is.
just makes it across the line.
Yeah.
I just want to watch everyone go across the line, like, so I can just see if anyone has a little spin, little moment.
Logan, I can give you Logan's information, and he doesn't. And Kaganis has a spin, and I don't think Kaganis will be too pleased with this race. He's struggled, had a few spins. I think he'll probably try. I think he'll want to do better in the United States for next race.
Yeah, but definitely congratulations to Mercedes for having that 1-2 for Mr. Baby and Rogue. I mean, Rogue definitely having a bit of controversy throughout the race, but definitely had the pace advantage. I mean, he showed he was a faster driver than the rest of the grid, so incredible job from them.
Great race from Mercedes, not gonna lie. Great race,
Oh,
especially
definitely.
from Rogue, who
So your driver of the day is Rogue. Definitely would agree. He definitely had a big rush through the field. Impressive drive from him. Yeah, but that is your division. That's your division 3. We have Mr. Baby, first place, Rogue, second place, Joel Guron, third place, Duncan, fourth place, Ferrari, fifth place for Ethan Patel in Alpine, sixth place for NV in Red Bull, seventh for Fitz Dickwell, Beamer coming in 8th, BMF from McLaren coming in 9th, and Ben coming in for Williams at 10th. So that rounds out your top 10. Your last top 10 will be Cushy, Marino, Rage, Logan, Keganis, Babedo, Hokage, Zero, Alejandre, and Aaron Green, who had definitely some unlucky races, but we'll be hoping to see more from them later on.
and thank you for seeing us, and we will see you off for Division 2 in a few minutes.
Yeah, I don't think we have enough time for... Actually, we can probably have enough time for some quick interviews, don't we?
I think we might.
It got delayed. Okay, we got to do some quick interviews. So you can get to your... Get to you guys. Okay, let's get your Guron in here. Yeah, quickly.
Yeah, the third place finisher.
Yep.
Joel Guron.
Yeah, Joel, tell me about that race.
My knee hurts. I'm in pain.
So, Joel Guron's a wimp, everybody, and has very weak legs. But still managed to make his way to third, so big congratulations, Joel.
Thanks, bro.
Congratulations on P3.
I'd
I'm defending for my life.
Yeah, I want to just ask one question about the whole race. You looked pretty quick throughout the whole race. Nothing much happened really.
Yeah.
Tell me about that little incident we had with Rogue and you coming into turn 7.
I don't know. I just died, and I just tried to defend it, and yeah,
I see. Well,
try to make it clean as possible.
yeah. Well, definitely you put up you definitely made that Red Bull as wide as possible, and amazing driving from both of you. You guys definitely kept it extremely clean throughout the times when you were side by side. So major congratulations to you. And yeah, we'll see you next week for USA, which is gonna be a fun track.
Next week, 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks,
No,
yeah,
it's not next
Easter.
week.
It's Easter, right? Yeah, it's Easter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one less
That's
week
good.
of streaming for you guys, so even better.
Let's get Mr. Baby in here because he's
Yeah.
in the waiting room.
Yep, thank you so much, Joel. Take it.
Yeah, let's get Mr. Baby in. And
Ooh.
congratulations, Mr. Baby, for dominating out there.
Thank you.
Was there anything about your race that you would like to point out to us?
No, other than the fact that I was a lot faster than I thought I would be, from practice.
I
That was really
see.
good.
Well, I guess that's really good. I mean, you definitely dominated in D3 today. It looked like you were going to dominate before in the dry as well, but I guess you just slapped it down for the wet as well. So big congratulations on that. I mean, who's your TP again? Carl Barons, yeah, should be extremely proud for your 1-2. I mean, what does this mean for the team?
I mean, yeah, it's great. We're gonna be. It's a big jump for us in the constructors. So.
Yeah, I love this enthusiasm, Mr. Baby. I hope you have a great day, man, and congratulations on the win.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your win, and let's see you in Coda in 2 weeks' time.
Mhm.
Move Rogue in here.
I got it. Hello, Rogue. I mean, what an interesting race. You were rushing down the field, passing drivers left and right, racing down the field. Tell me about that race.
It was chaotic. That's for sure. The C's partied on those first 5 laps. It was chaos in the back. That definitely made it harder for myself not being able to get that inter run on in Q1, but I did not. I definitely made some good moves. I love the one around the outside after the second DRS zone. That one was. I was so hyped about that, but it was it was really fun.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear, man. I mean, you had such a great race. I mean, a lot of fun overtakes. You and Joel went wheel to wheel for quite a long while, and you guys kept it clean and really professional. So I love to see that from you guys. And I mean, just congratulations on P2. You and Mr. Baby in your own league today. I mean, from getting knocked out of Q1 to being second, I mean, you must be extremely happy.
Yeah, I definitely. I knew I had to pace, but I mean, the weather was so topsy turvy. I didn't know that hard strategy call. I thought I lost a couple positions. I thought it was going to be way harder for myself, but thankfully some people, got out of the way by spinning or being in their own accidents. So I just kept it clean and did what I needed to do, and it was really fun. It was great.
Congratulations on second place, especially on making up so many places on a track that tough to pass. Was it as difficult to overtake as it's made out to be around Singapore? Generally narrow, low speed. Was it as difficult for you as it's been made out to be in the past, or no?
Well, I guess not. But congratulations, Rogue, on the race. We'll be heading on to D2 in about a couple minutes. So I don't want to keep Magnussen here. I don't want to keep Magnussen here too much from his race, and I want to keep myself quickly to go to bed. But anyways, you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching this broadcast. Thank you so much for these podium finishes, for these great racings that we've seen. And yeah, I guess we'll see you in a couple minutes for D2. Thank you, and have a great day.
Congratulations, and we'll see you in Division 2.
Yep.
Cool.